feeling like I'm Akademiks.
Chat, I really wanted to get to the ASAP Rocky trial, which for whatever reason we're actually having a it's actually filmed. So there's live streams of this. I think I told y'all before that usually trials in LA, you don't get you actually don't get live streams or in-court video, but apparently with this Rocky thing, you're now really quickly, I want to explain what's been going on. It's very important. By the way, chat, are we good? Chat, are we good? I don't need to go back into any other bullshit, right? We're good? Okay. Again, for right before the last thing, for the people who don't like me, I can't just offer myself. There's nothing I could give you to make you like me, right? I could say sorry a million times. You're never gonna be like, oh, you know what? I ain't gonna lie. All right, man, you fucked up, but like, bro, I could see you'll never like me. Like, bro, you want to see me die, and unless I just sit here and just die on stream, you'll never be happy. So it's no need for me to keep going more and more and try to appease you. You don't. There's nothing I could do. Like, you hate me because maybe Meg's your favorite artist, and I clowned Meg, or I fucking clowned, I don't know who the hell, Carisha, or I fucking clown Lil Baby, or I don't know who you, like, whatever reason you might hate me, I can't do nothing to make you like me, right? I wish you would like me, but I get you. I can't do anything for you to like me, right? So I just got to continue, and the people who watch me, I solemnly believe that they show up here for me to do a job, for me to update them on hip hop, for me to give my cultural insight about these things. They probably fuck with my POV, or sometimes they disagree, and I like that. And, of course, I'm down to address scandals or whatever public, whatever random shit with me. But unlike other streamers, this ain't what they came for. They ain't come for me to be talking about this for 50 hours or whatever. I'm always down to crash. I feel like I'm the crash. I can't wait to crash out on stream, not in real life. But, yeah, we got to get into topics. Okay, so here we go. So the ASAP Rocky shooting trial has started. Now, I'm going to lay out a few things very clearly before we get into the weeds of all of this, because I do think that ASAP Rocky, the prosecutor tried to hit him with an uppercut. And if he does get found guilty, I think he has a great grounds for an appeal, because I felt like they snaked the shit out of him. Now, first and foremost, if you guys don't know, ASAP Rocky was accused of shooting his friend ASAP Relli in the hand after a disagreement. Some of it was caught on camera where Rocky had a gun. There's another far camera that kind of shows a muzzle flash and whatever the case is. And ultimately, the dude cooperated with the police, right? Now, ASAP Rocky was offered 180 days, okay? He's facing 24 years, but he was offered 180 days. And it was supposed to be 180 days with a bunch of, like, hold on, let me see if I can see the full thing. It was 3 years of probation, a 7-year suspended sentence, which we always got to watch out for, right? Because, if you fuck up on probation after the 180, so it would have been 180 days in jail, suspended 7 years, right? But he had to go through 3 years of probation. And if he fucked up on probation, he would get 7 years, right? He said no. He said, I'm not doing that, okay? I'm not doing that. Let's go to trial. Which, by the way, I have to be honest with you, a pre-trial offer of him doing less than a year, right? It's about less than a year, because it's 365, 180. Yeah, that's 6 months. So, yeah, it's exactly half of a year. He would have only had to do 6 months in jail. It's in California. In California, it's so much overcrowded, and also is a high-profile guy. He probably would have spent like 2.5 months in there. They would let him out, right? However, it came out later that, the concern is, okay, once you accept that, the probation, the suspended sentence hanging over your head, is going to fuck with you, and eventually they'll get you to fuck up. Now, I mean, I don't know what Rocky's into these days. Is he smoking a lot? I don't know if, I think California, well, California weed is legal, right? So in California, weed is legal. That means that he could be smoking. So again, it can't be, like, how does he think he was going to violate the 3 years of probation? Unless he was going to be violent again, right? Weed is legal. I mean, he could drink. I don't know if he does coke or some other weird drugs, but unless it's something like that and he would have to fail a drug test, look like he would have been straight. But maybe he's like, yo, bro, I don't want to go to jail, period. Now, he's risking a lot. Okay, so he basically turns it down, right? Turns it down. They pick a jury, 7 women, 5 dudes. Now, here's the thing about this, and this is why I think they backdoored A$AP Rocky. I'm going to explain before I get to what the judge said. Essentially, we're at court. Now, remember I told you, and I've said this multiple times, there's something called a Brady violation or Brady law, right? You know, it's a Brady rule, actually. It's a rule. Which means that the prosecutor has to turn over all evidence that could be exculpatory, even if it hurts their case. So if I find, or if I interviewed a witness that said that, oh, Rocky definitely didn't do it, I got to show him the transcript of that, or, you know, I got to, if I'm going to include that person's testimony, I got to show him the transcript, or if there's an angle of a camera that shows Rocky somewhere else, I got to, and I review that, I got to send that to him that he could use, right? The trial basically started. They picked the jury, right? This is A$AP Rocky right here. The prosecutor goes to the judge last minute. Like, the trial has started. You know, the prosecutor said, yo, judge, check this out, right? We just got ballistic evidence, an analysis of it, and we want to use this for the trial. Now, this is why I'm saying they snaked Rocky, right? Remember, he turned down the plea of 180 days. Why did he turn it down? Well, probably because of the discovery, and he probably, oh, they got a weak-ass case. And also, most of the eyewitnesses are fucking with me. So, now I'm going to beat it. Hold on, let me, I'm sorry. Why is this? Okay. I'm going to beat this case. They come in later with a ballistic report, and this is very important. You have to understand this. Rocky's defense is that because he's on camera, he's actually on camera holding a gun in his hand. Actually on camera, right? So he's holding a gun in his hand on camera. Let me show you right here. Sorry. So this is when a guy is trying to grab Rocky. Rocky's pushing back. Some guy comes to intervene. Rocky then blah, blah, blah. And then you see Rocky here. He has something behind his back, which later now seen is a gun. Rocky's team and his defense is that they're not going to say, oh, that video is not Rocky. They have basically said it's Rocky in the video. Their defense is that what you're seeing here that you're going to call a gun is a prop gun. Now, that was a viable defense, and it probably worked because clearly at the time of them coming up with that defense, there's no ballistic report, right? Because y'all could say it's a fake gun because y'all don't have any tests to show that the injuries the guy suffered was from a real gun, and probably from a gun that y'all did a search warrant on him and Rihanna's crib that they found, I think it was a Glock 43 or something like that. So he's looking at it like, yo, bro, what the fuck? The prosecutors show up and say, oh, we have a ballistic report from the gun and all the, I don't know if there was casing or whatever, that matches this gun or this whatever weapon that's in his hand that he's claiming is a starter gun. Now, the reason why I'm being a little bit long-winded here, but I'm doing it for a reason. The reason why Rocky, I believe, just got backdoored is that maybe if he knew that, oh, y'all have ballistic evidence for the gun, he would say, you know what? Let me check out of this shit and just take the plea of 180 days in jail, because if y'all have proof that our main line of defense, which their whole defense is what was in Rocky's hand, this thing isn't a real gun. But if y'all show up the last day by saying, oh no, it's definitely a real gun, and matter of fact, it matches the ballistic reports for blah, 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 it kind of blows up ASAP Rocky's entire defense. And who knows, maybe he would have reconsidered taking a plea. So they show up with this today and this, or not today, yesterday. And let me show y'all the conversation that happened. So the judge actually did not decline. The judge did not decline. ASAP Rocky's team basically said, Judge, I can't continue forward. Hold on, give me 1 second. He said, I can't continue forward with this case if y'all are going to admit this into evidence, because how our whole defense is fucked up now, and we don't have even our people that reviewed it. Hold on. His name is Tacopina. That's his name. Let's see if we can say. Yeah. Okay, here we go. He was so livid. Do I have it? Give me a second. Joe Tacopina. Anyway, his lawyer basically said, we can't go. Yo, I'm upset. Here, that y'all are doing this. You can't let this go. It says no way they could proceed if this report is admitted, right? There's actually a video of it. Here we go.
His lawyer just said this in court.
So many people said to me this morning, I told you so, that this was going to happen. And I'm trying to keep my composure. I don't know if I've ever been this upset in a court in my whole career, both as a prosecutor and as a defense attorney. I got to be honest with you. This is not right. It's not fair to him.
Defense that a prop gun was used, then they got the jury seated, and then last night or earlier this morning, prosecutors sent Rocky's lawyer a ballistics report, and Rocky's lawyer had a meltdown saying, I'm not going to trial if they're going to be allowed to use this ballistics report that they've never shown me before. I need multiple days to get an expert to look at this report and come up with our own conclusions to even understand what this report says. Rocky's lawyer is asking the judge to throw the evidence out and go forward with the trial. The judge might say, no, we're going to pause the trial and you can go get your expert. Or the judge might say, tough luck, trial continues, the report is in, good luck. Let's see what happens.
Okay. So basically, Rocky's lawyer said, yo, y'all can't just show up last minute with this evidence that's going to fuck up our whole defense. And what the hell? Like we don't even have our people that reviewed it. And essentially what happened is that the judge responded. And the judge responded to yesterday with a pretty extensive soliloquy explaining, and I'll save you the cliffhangers. He said, we're going to admit it into evidence, but he says this is why.
Recently finding out about this ballistic report. Everybody at the table, all counsel, to me, has great credibility. I accept what all of you say. I don't believe that there's been any nefarious conduct by anybody. If this late report involved, all of a sudden that it was disclosed that a witness, an additional witness positively identified Mr. Mayers as the shooter, that would be very critical and crucial. If a witness came forward and said, yeah, Mr. Mayers confessed to me that he shot ASAP Relli, that would be very critical and crucial. If a firearm, if a 9mm was recovered, that could be ballistically compared to the casings, and that just became discoverable or became disclosed, I think that would be critical. But that is not what happened here. What I'm seeing here is that the casings that were recovered were examined, and the opinion is they could have been fired from a Glock 43 or any other other number of types of 9mm. You have said that, well, now you want to hire a ballistic expert. But that's not fair to you and your client. So this is what I am proposing. We have a list, a Superior Court list of firearm examiners that have been recognized as experts. My star judicial assistant over there, Alice, will print out that list. Ms. Kaplan is an attorney who practices in this area. If there is someone on the list that you want to hire, contact that person and tell them this is crucial that the ballistic evidence be examined now, not later, but now. The court will pay for it. Mr. Mayers will not have to pay for this. We will. If the firearms examiner wants extra money because it's a rush, the court will pay for it. If you are not satisfied with the people on the list, then if you want to find your own examiner who will do the examination, the court will pay for it. If it's necessary that I speak to the examiner to impress upon the examiner the importance of getting this done ASAP, I'm glad to do that. I am providing my cell phone number to all of you. If you need to call me any time of the day or night, I will speak to you. I will speak to a firearms examiner. If you feel it is necessary, Mr. Tacopina, we can be dark on Monday. But I'm not excluding the evidence. I don't find that there is any nefarious conduct. The evidence is relevant. It's not a smoking gun, but it is somewhat inculpatory. But in and of itself does not mean that your client is guilty. That's the way we're going to deal with this, and that's the final ruling. I don't want to hear anything more about it. That's the end of the issue for now. Are both sides ready for the jury to come in? Do not mention anything about the ballistic comparison in the opening statement.
That was our question.
So yeah, do not mention that.
Understood.
Okay, and number one, if Rocky does get found guilty, I hope he doesn't, right? Just off, I'm talking from a fan's perspective. By the way, is this definitely, I compare this to the Tory and Meg situation. Number one, both, it's the same jurisdiction in terms of LA. We're going to see if ASAP Relli testifies. Does he move a jury? That might do something. I will say, though, if Rocky does get found guilty, on appeal, this is going to be a huge thing, right? Yo, our whole defense was set up to say this is a fake gun. There ain't no ballistic report for a fake gun. Like, we're saying this is not a real gun. This is a fake gun, and you show up the first day of trial, damn near, by saying, hey, we have some new evidence that we want to bring into play, and it's a ballistic report based on what we found at the scene and what we found at his house. It shows that it's one of the guns that he had or had possession of that was used, then that's a problem, right? So we'll see what happens there. The trial is actually happening. This is the prosecutor's, pretty much opening statements for the prosecutor, right? Here we go.
Now I'm going to move to what will be uncontradicted. As you have heard throughout jury selection, Mr. Myers is an entertainer, and he goes by the stage name ASAP Rocky. You will hear other nicknames that he is referred to in the evidence in this case, including Flacco and Luigi. At the time of this crime, Mr. Myers was 33 years old. He has his own company that I believe is referred to as AWGE, A-W-G-E, that you will hear referred to in the testimony in this case. And as we've talked about, his significant other is Rihanna. The victim in this case is a man by the name of Terrell Efron. And Mr. Efron, you will hear, was also a member of the ASAP collective, and he went by the nickname ASAP Relli. Mr. Efron was also 33 years old at the time of this crime. And what you will hear from Mr. Efron is that he was friends with Mr. Myers well before this case and well before even Mr. Myers was a famous individual. That essentially, I believe they met in high school and grew up together. He has known Mr. Myers 18 or 19 years at the time that this shooting happens. And you will also hear that he, too, at the time was working in the music industry, and he had his own company called Shut Eye Entertainment. Now, I mentioned it already, but to put a finer point on it, the group that both of these men were members of is called ASAP. It doesn't stand for what you probably thought it did when you walked into court. It's an acronym for Always Strive and Prosper. It was formed by high school age kids in Harlem, New York.
Wait, I never knew that ASAP stood for Always Strive and Prosper. Did y'all know that?
Around 2006. They call themselves a collective. You will hear are rappers, producers, music video directors, designers, people that have different artistic pursuits that essentially work together. And there are many members of ASAP. The ones that you will primarily hear in this case are obviously Mr. Myers, the victim, but also the two friends that were with Mr. Myers at the time this happened. And they go by ASAP Ills and ASAP 12E. And I will just pre-warn you that 12E gets spelled a bunch of different ways. It's not always consistent. And there will be one last member that you'll hear about briefly who goes by the stage name ASAP Bari. Sometimes people refer to him as Young Lord. As I said, the four main members of this group that you will hear about are these four men. The victim is on the far right, Mr. Efron. The defendant is the next person to his left. As I said, ASAP 12E, his given name is Jamel Phillips, and the last is Elijah Ulanger, who goes by ASAP Ills. And these were the four men who were present at the time of both of these incidents. Now I want to take you to that weekend, Saturday night in Hollywood. There was actually at the time a music festival or concert series going on known as Complex Con.
Oh, this was the last year I was at Complex. When did I leave Everyday Struggle? It might have been. It was 2021. Oh, January. I left in January. Oh, so I didn't go to this. Oh, okay.
In Long Beach, and you will hear that Mr. Myers was to be a performer at that event the day after the shooting, the Sunday, November 7th. Now, although I told you that Mr. Myers and Mr. Efron were close at one point, you will hear that throughout their relationship there was tension between the two of them. And that tension was essentially building up to the night of November 6th, 2021. You will not hear all the reasons why.
Yo, the judge looked mad, like he looked like he's tapped in. The judge is like really listening.
There was tension between the two of them, but we will
look at Rocky. I ain't gonna lie to you. Something about Rocky's lawyer, the Taco Pina dude, like yo, he just looks like a mobster. Like he looks like the crooked lawyer that gets off all the criminals. Like you do the crime, and he's like, yo, how many people you shot? Yo, I shot 5 people, bro. You're like, I bet we finna beat this case. Like you're not going to jail at all. Like he gives that vibes.
We'll get to the point the day before this shooting, November 5th, 2021, when that tension kind of comes to a head. But what happens on that day, Mr. Efron will tell you, is that he is in a car with that last member of the ASAP group that I talked about, ASAP Bari. The two of them are driving when ASAP Bari receives a phone call from Mr. Mayers. And ASAP Bari takes that call on speakerphone, so Mr. Efron, who's in the car, can hear both sides of the conversation. He can hear...
Okay, so supposedly... All right, good. We're finally in some context. So apparently Bari's driving with Relli. Rocky calls Bari. Bari puts Rocky on speaker, so Relli's in the car. He could hear both sides. Okay, we're getting some...
Mayers, and can also hear...
Chat, somebody says Saul Goodman. Yeah, he gives Saul Goodman vibes, though. Yo, chat, anybody watch Breaking Bad? Saul Goodman was a good lawyer, though. Chat, would y'all have Saul Goodman defend you? Better Call Saul? I ain't gonna lie, man. Saul was a crooked motherfucker, man. But he used to get his clients off. He used to get his clients off, though. Chat, let me ask y'all a question. Do you rather have a crooked lawyer that gets the job done, or a straight by the book lawyer who, I don't know. I guess also gets, I don't know. I guess it's all about getting the job done. It don't matter who it is, just get the job done, right?
ASAP Bari. And in the course of that call,
yo, Rocky looks so tight the whole time. He got that look on his face like, yo, I could be fucking Rihanna right now, and I'm in here in this fucking courtroom because it's Relli, nigga.
Mr.
Somebody said crooked lawyer, that's the guy? I ain't gonna lie, man. Anytime there's certain type of lawyers that got that Saul Goodman vibe, is always lit. I ain't gonna lie. Anyway, let's keep hearing.
Efron, the victim, heard the defendant saying these rude and aggressive things about him. Mr. Mayers at the time does not know that Mr. Efron is in the car with the victim. This leads to the next day, November 6, 2021. You'll hear that Mr. Efron was in Los Angeles working with one of the artists that he managed. He was asleep around 9:00 p.m. when he started receiving a series of urgent messages from not only from Mr. Mayers, but from the two other men that were with him, ASAP Ills and ASAP 12. And you'll hear that he received a number of calls kind of back to back to back from the three of them. Now, he didn't answer those calls because he was sleeping, but when he ultimately woke up, he saw that he had a number of missed calls. He also received text messages from Mr. Mayers that were aggressive, seeking a confrontation with him, asking him where he was. Mr. Mayers is on the left side of this conversation. Where are you at? Let's get to it. Stop ducking my calls. The messages that the victim's receiving are instantly aggressive towards him. So you will hear from Mr. Efron that he called the defendant. He was groggy because he had just woken up. They had a conversation and they agreed to meet outside of the W Hotel in Hollywood. Mr. Efron will tell you that as he went to that meeting, he was of the frame of mind that he and Mr. Mayers were going to have a confrontation. That he believed they would argue.
Okay, so this is ASAP Rocky texting Relli, and I guess Rocky says, "Where you at? Let's get to it. Stop ducking my calls, nigga." And then I guess Relli's like, "Nigga, I'm in front of Trader Joe's." Which, by the way, we have to assume that Relli's fully cooperating because these messages are from his phone. You can see his texts are in blue, right? Hold on, let me see.
Mr. Efron will tell you that as he went to that meeting, he was of the frame of mind that he and Mr. Mayers were going to have a confrontation. That he believed they would argue. and that ultimately this would lead to kind of repairing their relationship. So they would.
Yo, why did this put out Rocky's email address like this? That's crazy. Why is Rocky's email address Luigi? By the way, what happened with AUG? Like, remember this AUG thing? Ain't Cardi signed to AUG? Kinda. Cardi is like tapped. Like, we've never gotten you know, if I ever interview Cardi, I gotta ask him about how does his association with Rocky and AUG also mixed with opium. Like, it's very, I feel like that's kind of like fluid. But okay.
Each be able to speak their piece and essentially fight like brothers do. And that it would ultimately bring them closer together. They would repair sort of the issues that they each had with each other. So that's how Mr. Efron is going into this meeting. Now, let's talk about the location where they meet, this location just outside of the W Hotel. You're going to see this map throughout this case. So I want to take some time to walk through it with you so you understand the various features that are depicted here. On the left side of the screen is Argyle Avenue. On the bottom of the screen is Selma Avenue. And on the right side of the screen is El Centro Avenue. Now you can't see it in this map, but if the map were to continue off the top of the screen, Hollywood Boulevard would be just above that. In the middle of this map, there's a small street called Vista Del Mar that kind of goes north and then
This is Vista Del Mar right here.
Forces you to go east.
So essentially, so this is north, and he says it forces you to go east because here is it's a one way. So really, this map should be flipped. So this is north, and this is east.
The red arrows that you see here are the path of travel that Mr. Mayers took.
Oh, never mind. It's not about one way.
That evening. So it starts at that mid-block location on Argyle, continues down to Selma, and then up Vista Del Mar, around that corner, all the way to El Centro, and then he made a left turn on El Centro and went above, off the map. The numbers in the red boxes that you see here, 1, 2, 3, and 4, are the 4 different locations where the police were ultimately able to recover surveillance video from. There are 4 different locations. Attached to each one of those locations, you'll see the green triangle and the green, with a green arrow in the middle. And what that represents is very roughly, this is not meant to be, exact, but very roughly the direction that a camera attached to that building was facing. You will also hear that locations 1, 2, and 4 captured video only. But you will hear that the location with the number 3 captured both video and...
I'm going to skip a little bit further that we could, we want to get to the juicy details. Pause. Here we go.
What that is. At the mouth of that parking entrance, there are cameras that are facing the sidewalk. Those are the first view that we saw. And these cameras capture the initial encounter between the victim, Mr. Efron, who you see there, and the defendant, Mr. Mayers.
Okay.
And you can see that Ills is the first one to intervene to try to separate the two of them. And then at the very bottom of the screen, you see 12E putting his hand to try to also intervene and help separate them. Now I know it goes by quickly, and you're not as familiar with all these people, so I want to kind of break it down a little bit for you and show you what the evidence that you're going to receive throughout this case. The first person that you see in that video is the victim, Mr. Efron.
By the way, not that it really matters. There's like a Rihanna tracker in this whole thing. I don't know why people love Rihanna, right? Rihanna has not shown up to any pretrial proceedings, nor has she shown up in court as of yet. to witness or watch any of the current court proceedings. Okay? People do expect as this case gets a little bit further along that she will show up, and if not, at least for the verdict that will be read eventually, or at least some status on what the jury says. They believe that she'll show up at that time. Trust me, I love Rihanna and everything, but people have this, Rihanna got like this whole thing going on with her. Like, people love the fuck out of her, so they're tracking if she shows up. This is how much people don't, like, not that they don't care about Rocky, but they're like, all right, Rocky, it's all good, man. Yo, I hope you beat your case, but where's Rihanna at?
The second person who you see, who is instantly confrontational with Mr. Efron, is the defendant, Mr. Mayers. You see on the video that Mr. Mayers is immediately aggressive towards Mr. Efron. He's pulling at Mr. Efron's sweatshirt, and he's pushing Mr. Efron backward and pushes him off camera, out of camera view. The third person that you see, as I told you, is Elijah Ulanger, who also goes by ASAP Ills, or he might just be referred to as Ills throughout this.
So this is Ills, right?
If you look closely, you can actually see his stage name embroidered on the jacket that he's wearing there. And what he tends to do is to de-escalate this situation, to get between the two men and to physically separate them. And you'll see that all three of them go off screen for a period of time. Mr. Efron will tell you that during the period of time that they are off screen is when the defendant first produces that semi-automatic pistol from his waistband. He pulls it out of his waistband and he's holding it to Mr. Efron. Mr. Efron will tell you that the defendant pointed the gun at his chest and was essentially trying to point the gun around Ills, who was between them.
Wow.
That at the time that he was pointing the gun at Mr. Efron.
Well, so here's one of the things I'm trying to look for. I'm looking for motive, right? Obviously, that's another thing that's really big in these trials. Why does ASAP Rocky want to shoot his group mate? Like, why? You know what I mean? Like, we've, and again, I'm a little bit, I guess, let me not say traumatized, okay? Before people like, you're trying to be a victim. I get people don't live in the real world, but when you got friends, y'all squabble, y'all fight. Me and all my friends, sometimes we've gotten into it, right? I ain't never got so mad at a friend that I'm like, I gotta shoot this nigga. And if I was supposed to think why would that happen or occur, I have a few things I would be thinking. Relli must have embarrassed Rocky. Because why? Yeah, even if y'all just fought, like whatever, y'all just fought. Like you got other not gang, but like you got other niggas around you, they were gonna break it up. Why do you think you gotta shoot him? Maybe he did something that embarrassed you that now your ego's kicking in. I'm thinking out loud. Like, why would you have to shoot the nigga? Somebody says Rocky don't do drugs. Rocky doesn't come across like a drug addict. I'm not gonna lie to you. Somebody said it was just a skit, Your Honor. I'm gonna be honest with you, chat. And again, we talking as niggas. I hope you understand that. I'm actually surprised that Relli is really going forward with this. I know he was shot, but come on, bro. Like, yo, these are all your friends. I'm pretty sure niggas can be like, yo, bro, Rocky gonna give you like 200,000, bro. Like, bro, drop that shit, nigga. Bro, like, we bros, like, yo, he was definitely wrong. That nigga should never pull out a gun on you. But like, bro, you can't be like talking to the police. You can't be about to testify on him and go to jail. I thought that was going to happen. Honestly, I swear, I thought that was going to happen. Rocky going to slide some money. They probably going to deal with it because they fam at the end of the day. We don't know how close they are. Yo, yeah, I was tweaking, my bad, bro. But like, if homie is not there to testify, or he says to the DA, I'm not cooperating no more, Rocky's not facing nothing. Now, I do know, I think he was thinking about, or maybe he did file like a civil suit. But, bro, like, y'all could deal with that internally. Yo, Rocky about to send you 300, bro. He about to send you 300, but, like, bro, you gotta drop this shit. Like, bro, this shit is crazy. This is a bad look. It's a bad look for the mob, bro. Like, chill. Nah, no. Like, y'all little woke motherfuckers. Okay, be like, oh, my God, no. No. But that's how shit goes down, bro.
He was also threatening Mr. Efron. I'm going to kill you. Keep in mind, these men have known each other for a long time. And Mr. Efron will tell you, in his state of mind, he never believed that he was going to be shot. He never believed that the defendant would actually shoot him. He will tell you that had this been a stranger, someone he didn't know as well, he would have been petrified. As you can imagine, anyone pointing a gun at you would upset you. But he knows the defendant. He knows that Mr. Mayers is not going to shoot him. He knows so much so that he'll tell you he looked at the defendant and said, if you brought a gun, you should shoot it.
Wait, so Relli tells Rocky, nigga, if you brought a gun, shoot it. And I guess Rocky's like, well, you think I'm a bitch? Bow! Oh, shit.
That's how confident he is that he knows the defendant is not going to pull that trigger. Now, the fourth person you can barely see on this video as they come back into frame, I told you, is Jamel Phillips, who goes by 12E or ASAP 12. And you can just see his hand at the very bottom of the screen. When they come back on screen, and specifically when Mr. Mayers comes back on screen, you can see the gun in his hand. You will hear that that gun that he's holding is a semi-automatic pistol, or has features that are consistent with a semi-automatic pistol. Right now, as it's paused on the screen, you can see that he's holding that gun behind his back. But you will also see the gun come forward in front of his body before he ultimately tucks it back into his waistband.
Wait, hold on. Y'all can see, hold on.
You can see that he's holding that gun behind his back. But you will also see the gun come forward in front of his body before he ultimately tucks it back into his waistband. And you will see from the video that there were bystanders. As I said, this is a busy Saturday night in Hollywood, walking by as this confrontation is taking place.
Now, again, I want to keep like pausing it, right? But so again, I'm not a lawyer. I'm not in A$AP Rocky's team. I do think it's a risky method to go with, to say what you think is a gun in my hand is not a gun, but the police are gonna, not the police, the DA is gonna spend time they're gonna prove, well, even if it wasn't, if you're claiming this wasn't a gun, well, who fired the shots that happened at that particular place, and the injuries that he suffered, how are those consistent with a gunshot, but it's not you?
You will hear that right after that encounter that you saw, that Mr. Mayers walked away and was walking down Argyle towards Selma. Mr. Efron will tell you that as he walked away, he looked over at 12E, Mr. Phillips, and he saw 12E putting a pocket knife away. And Mr. Efron, and then 12E, Mr. Phillips, walked behind the defendant, Mr. Mayers, and Ills walked behind him as well. So the three men that had come to confront Mr. Efron walked away down Argyle towards Selma. And Mr. Efron will tell you that at that moment, his mindset about the initial confrontation changed. I told you that Mr. Efron will tell you when he first went there, he believed that this was meant to be a confrontation so that they could strengthen their relationship. But having just had a gun pointed at him and seeing another friend putting away a pocket knife, that his mindset changed and he understood these men never came here to try to make peace with him. That it was always meant to be a confrontation. And he decided at that moment that having a gun pointed at him was sort of a bridge too far in their friendship. And he understood he was probably never going to have the same friend.
Okay, all right.
That you're seeing from that video that
so essentially they're showing a couple of videos.
Actually get to watch camera.
I think this is when the police show up. They're canvassing the area for, you know, anything that was dropped, because people start running after the shots allegedly were fired. So they're looking for casings, other stuff.
That captures the police response. After this shooting, the evidence will be that all four of these men, the defendant, 12E, Ills, and the victim, all left the scene. You'll hear that there were at least two people who called 911 to report this crime, who were just people living in the surrounding area, not actually in.
Okay.
They searched the area. About an hour and a half later, he started text messaging the defendant.
Oh, here we go. Ooh, this is some good information. Hold on. So look like this is one of the shell casings they found. Obviously, if you don't know, shell casings could be then traced to the gun that it was fired from, possibly. And also, you know, if the police then find the gun, which they did find weapon, this is when they raided Rocky's crib, they could try to put two and two together and try to be like, oh, no, you did fire this gun, right?
Mr. Efron himself took of one of the fired cartridge cases that he found.
Oh, wow. So supposedly Relli took a picture. Oh, yeah, Relli wanted this thing to go to jail. Relli took a picture of one of the shell casings. Well, let me go back a little bit. Look at Rocky. Rocky's like really in tune. Like he's really focused in this shit.
The officer will tell you that they searched the area and they did not find any evidence of a shooting. They didn't find a victim with injuries. They didn't find any of the suspects. And they didn't find any discharged cartridge cases, which are what come out of a gun after you discharge it in the surrounding area. But again, they don't know exactly where to look with the limited information that they're given. You will also hear from Mr. Efron that approximately an hour, and he's not precise on the exact time, but approximately an hour after the shooting, he himself returned to the location. Now at this time, the police have already responded and left. Mr. Efron will tell you that he and his girlfriend went there specifically to look for evidence that this had happened, but the evidence of this shooting. And Mr. Efron will tell you, because he knew exactly where the shooting happened, that he was able to locate two fired cartridge cases. And this is actually a photograph that Mr. Efron himself took of one of the fired cartridge cases that he found. Mr. Efron, you'll hear, went to the police 2 days later, walked into the Hollywood police station to report this crime happening. He brought the two fired cartridge cases with him, and he gave them to the police. You will hear that the two cartridge cases that he brought in were 9mm Luger caliber cartridge cases. However, you will also hear from Mr. Efron that immediately after the shooting, about an hour and a half later, he started text messaging the defendant. And he text messaged the defendant, "You try killing me." That was the first message he sent to him. And you'll hear that Mr. Mayer's response was to deny that anything happened.
So they say you try to kill me,
The defendant,
and I guess Rocky says, "Yo, Rel, what the fuck is you talking about? Why are you telling people I shot at you?" Okay, and the time is 12 o'clock here, and then 12:36. This is an hour and a half after the shooting. Police already showed up. Rocky's probably realizing, yo, the cops are involved, this and third. Rocky's not stupid. He's not about to tell this nigga like, yo, I really did shoot at you, my nigga. Like, I was really trying to clap your stupid ass. Or even if he was like, nah, I wasn't trying to kill you. I was just trying to give you a leg eyes because you was just talking crazy. He does what he should do. Yo, bro, why are you telling people I shot at you? Like, what the fuck?
in abbreviation, says, "What the fuck is you talking about? Why are you telling people I shot at you?" Denying that any shooting has even happened.
Chat, I do the same. W Rocky.
Mr. Efron confronts him again.
Y'all niggas try to set me up and try to take me from my daughter. Yo, this is one of those things. You ever got problems with a nigga and he bringing people that don't matter? Like niggas just start saying anything. Like, not even know this is bad. It was dick. But blanket apology to the real people who were involved. Alhamdulillah. What the fuck would they be saying? Actually, let me not play with nobody's religion. Somebody gonna be like, oh my God, we're gonna smoke you for that act. Yeah, let me stop playing with y'all niggas. I'm Baptist, okay? All right. The nigga said he prayed about it. I'm like, what? I'm like, yo, let's go to Bible study together, bro. Anyway, yeah, what the fuck? My bad. Why the hell this nigga just randomly, y'all niggas trying to take me from my daughter? Nigga, how the hell your daughter get in this? We was just trying to give you a leg eyes. You playing with us, you get a leg eyes. What the fuck your daughter got to do with this, nigga? Look at Rocky. I try to do what? Nigga, I know you hate me. I hate you too. That sound like a nigga that would give somebody a leg eyes. I ain't gonna like that.
You set me up to try to take me from my daughter.
Ooh.
And the defendant responds, I tried to do what? I know you hate me, I hate you too. The defendant responds again, stop making shit up. Again, denying.
I ain't gonna lie to you. Shout out to Rocky. This is the type of gaslighting I like. Yo, if I shot you and we texting afterwards, first of all, that was a bad shooting job. Yo, the chat, can we acknowledge the obvious? I know, we're not doing no fake like Twitch nigga prayer and shit like that. We gonna talk real, okay? All y'all little Twitch niggas who start hitting me with a fake shit today, acting like y'all perfect. Okay, listen, nobody co-signing that act, but some of y'all niggas was acting like y'all Jesus today. Y'all niggas is crazy. Yo, I like the type of gaslight. Yo, you did a bad shooting job when the nigga you shot is texting you an hour later. Nah, that's not how you spin. If King Von had shot this nigga, he would be texting him from a goddamn, it must be like a goddamn heaven to earth, like collect call type shit, my nigga. Ain't no way you shot the nigga and he texting you an hour later. This is a bad shooting job. This is a fact. Like Rocky, you got to do better. You shoot a nigga, it's no way that nigga should be, listen, you shoot a nigga, he should be fighting for his life, not texting you later in an hour. Like, yo, bro, what you trying to do to me? Stop making up shit, Rel.
Any confrontation took place. Certainly any shooting.
I like this type of gaslighting. Yo, who shot you, bro? I like this.
We've already told you in jury selection, and you will hear evidence.
I want to get this nigga's money. What the fuck? Cash knew. Who the hell is Cash? And then Quan. Then he says he probably trying to get you to perform at Complex Con. Ooh, okay. I wanted to. He shot at me. So what? You know that for sure? Wait, hold on. This is crazy.
That after this shooting, Mr. Efron sought money from Mr. Mayers. In fact, right, hours after the shootings, this is the next day, November 7th, in the early morning hours, 3:40 a.m., you'll hear that Mr. Efron sent a message to one of his friends saying that he wants money.
Oh, no.
And identifying the reason why he wants that money is because Mr. Mayers shot at him.
Oh, shit.
You will also hear that based upon these two incidents, the parking lot and the shooting on the corner, that Mr. Efron filed a civil lawsuit against Mr. Mayers.
Oh, shit.
At the end of this case, you will not be asked to award Mr. Efron any money. So that consideration will not be a part of your what you're asked to determine. Moving forward in time, you'll hear from LAPD detectives that Mr. Mayer's home was searched on April 20th of 2022, and that during that search, LAPD detective recovered a magazine for a semi-automatic pistol that was 9mm caliber, and that it was loaded with 6 unfired 9mm Luger rounds of live ammunition.
Okay.
You will hear that these items were found in Mr. Mayer's bedroom closet.
Real nigga.
You will also hear that there was
Shout out to Rocky. If a nigga try to run down on Rihanna, he got to kill that nigga. That's a fact. That's how it should go.
no handgun that was 9mm in Mr. Mayer's home that was for that magazine. So you have a 9mm magazine, but no handgun to go with it. The last point I want to leave you with before I conclude is that we expect, in this case, that the defense will call 12B, Mr. Phillips, to testify. At the time,
Oh shit, fuck.
or who is who in the video from that location shooting. Two
Sorry.
mayors be asked to award Mr. Efron any money.
Yo, so he says, okay, so now we get to find out who was there. So ASAP Ills is there, ASAP 12E's there, Relli got shot, and Rocky allegedly did the shooting. The DA is saying 12E is going to come and say, Rocky ain't shooting nobody. The fuck is you talking about? W12E, you feel me? Like, you ain't gonna snitch on the nigga who's making all the bread, right?
So that consideration will not be a part of your what you're asked to determine. Moving forward in time, you'll hear from LAPD detectives that Mr. Mayer's home was searched on April 20th of 2022, and that during that search, LAPD detective recovered a magazine for a semi-automatic pistol that was 9mm caliber, and that it was loaded with 6 unfired 9mm Luger rounds of live ammunition. You will hear that these items were found in Mr. Mayer's bedroom closet.
Real nigga.
You will also hear that there was no handgun that was 9mm in Mr. Mayer's home that was for that magazine. So you have a 9mm magazine, but no handgun to go with it. The last point I want to leave you with before I conclude is that we expect, in this case, that the defense will call 12B, Mr. Phillips, to testify. At the time of the shooting, again, he's friends with all these participants. He's 32 years old. And it is expected that he will testify that the defendant was in fact the person on the video who fired the 2 gunshots that we hear. So it will essentially be uncontested that Mr. Mayers was the person who fired the gun at that street corner, and that he will tell you the gun that the defendant fired was a starter pistol. That, ladies and gentlemen, is what the evidence in this case will show at the end of this case. As I've said, we expect that the defense will attempt to present an alternative.
Okay, all right, cool. So that's pretty much the prosecutor's opening statements. I'm going to play really quickly what ASAP Rocky's defense was saying, and then we'll move on, right? I think we've laid out like the big hurdle, which I think is they're snaking Rocky a little bit. You know the situation. I've played what the prosecutor is saying. I skipped around a little bit. It was 47 minutes. I know you don't want to see 47 minutes of this. I'm still looking for the motive. Like, why would Rocky shoot him, right? Like, it looks like they were saying there were disagreements, but we can't get, again, I didn't watch the whole thing, or I didn't play the parts that would show you that. But what I think a jury would say, well, if these guys are all friends, why would somebody wants to shoot his friend, right? That's going to be a big thing. Anyway, let's hear the defense and how they're going to spin this. I'm trying to play less than 10 minutes of it, so I don't want to get y'all bored. Here we go.
All right, Mr. Prislovic.
Better Call Saul right here.
Finished, and this.
Right now, you get to see if we fulfill those promises, and then you vote. That's the difference. Ladies and gentlemen, you represent the state of California, the people of the state of California. It's an awesome burden. And there's no greater service a citizen of this country can do than serve in the military or do what you're being asked to do right now. Stand in judgment of another person in a matter of such great importance. It's an incredible burden to bear. But that's why the 16 of you were chosen. There were 106 people here. You made the cut because you all, and even the alternates, assured us that you could carry out that burden fairly, impartially, without a bias, without a closed mind. Listen to the evidence carefully before rendering your decision, you promised. And to base your decision only on the evidence. Not some preconceived notions stemming from the nature of this case or what you may have read or heard.
This is entirely arguable.
But just on facts. And to abide by the basic tenets of our Constitution, proof beyond a reasonable doubt and a presumption of innocence. And they're not mere technicalities, instead they're the backbone of this country. A person is presumed innocent, the judge straight told you. And it means...
Okay, I want to hear the defense story. Hold on.
He did maintain...
Why Rocky looks so... Rocky looks salt. I ain't gonna lie, Rocky look like he about to shoot a nigga in the court. Yo, shout to Rocky, man. Look at that nigga right here.
Friendship with Relli. Unfortunate for him.
Nah, he looks salty. He looked tight that he in court. I ain't gonna lie to you.
He even sought to help Relli through professional collaboration. But that wasn't enough for Relli, clearly.
So he looks so mad. Rocky looks so tight, like, yo, this bitch ass nigga. You could tell by his chat. Caption his face. Is this Velo? Is this a Velo tat? This V right here behind his neck? Yo, he's so mad, bro. It's like he's like, yo, this bitch ass nigga got me in court. Caption his face, chat. Look, chat. Caption the face. Caption this look right here. Yo, what Rocky say with his look right here? It's like this bitch ass motherfucker, man.
He did maintain a friendship with Relli. Unfortunate for him. He even sought to help Relli through professional collaboration. But that wasn't enough for Relli, clearly. You'll see the kind of person Relli is in this courtroom. You're going to see it. He was jealous and angry. And as Rocky rejected some of the projects he presented him, Relli's resentment grew deeper and darker. So embittered by the success achieved by Rocky, someone he once considered peer, Relli embarked on a dangerous course of action. And in November 2021, Relli's resentment towards him reached the fever pitch. After tragedy had struck another member of this ASAP group, an individual named ASAP Josh had untimely death and passed away. Evidence will show you that Rocky stepped up, spoke to the parents and the mom, ASAP Josh, and offered to cover the cost for the funeral, bring the body back to New York and pay for the funeral. But Relli, still blinded by resentment, believed otherwise. He thought for some reason Rocky didn't agree to pay, or had agreed to pay, but then didn't actually pay. And he was furious. He went as far as to threaten physical violence against him because he thought he didn't pay for the funeral or for the expense of flying the body back. He was wrong, because he did pay.
Okay, so I guess there was a funeral. Did he mention whose funeral? So apparently there was a rift that we had Relli feeling that, let me go back, that Rocky didn't pay for a funeral or something like that.
As to threaten physical violence against him because he thought he didn't pay for the funeral or for the expense of flying the body back. He was wrong, because he did pay. But he went as far as to threaten physical violence. And you're going to see that for yourself, ladies and gentlemen. On October 16th, a few weeks before this incident that you're all here to hear about, Relli told his friend that Rocky was a piece of shit and declared, "I'm going to beat this nigga up."
What? Wait. Yo, did his lawyer just drop the N-word? Yeah, he one of them lawyers. He be having a tan, so I can't tell if he black. Is he black? Maybe Cuban. He probably Hispanic. Taco Pina. What is that? Is that like Hispanic? No, that's like Italian, right? He said, "I'm gonna beat this nigga up." Yo, the way he said nigga was mad natural. Yo, the way he said nigga was mad, it just rolled off the tongue. Pause. Like, yo, he just said it mad natural. What? Somebody said, is court. Remember the white judge that said nigga later came back and apologized, like, "Oh, I shouldn't have said nigga, I'm sorry." Yo, this nigga with his, he got like, I guarantee it's like a $5,000 suit. He in here, he doing his thing.
16.
Hold up.
Or had agreed to pay, but then didn't actually pay. And he was furious. He went as far as to threaten physical violence against him because he thought he didn't pay for the funeral or for the expense of flying the body back. He was wrong, because he did pay. But he went as far as to threaten physical violence. And you're going to see that for yourself, ladies and gentlemen. On October 16th, a few weeks before this incident that you're all here to hear about, Relli told his friend that Rocky was a piece of shit and declared, "I'm going to beat this nigga up." Now, it's funny.
Nah, the way he said nigga, this ain't his first time. It ain't his first rodeo. I'm gonna beat this nigga up. Like, nah, he be saying a lot.
Relli told his friend that Rocky was a piece of shit and declared, "I'm going to beat this nigga up." Now, it's funny. They showed you a lot of text messages. I didn't see that one. Did not see that one. That's the catalyst. That's weeks before this incident, when he came in hot on November 6, 2021 on Argyle. And if you fast forward only a few weeks on November 6, 2021, you'll see that. You see that Relli sought to turn those threatening words into dangerous actions. And he did. The evidence will show you that on November 6, 2021, Rocky was scheduled to attend a music festival they put it up at called Akademiks, with two other members of the ASAP crew, Elijah Ulanga and Janelle Phillips, you now know them as ASAP Ills and ASAP 12. So, in order to address Relli's resentment, because he was really mad, and have him accompany Ills and 12 to the festival, Rocky reached out to him multiple times. As a matter of fact, I think he saw a text from one of Relli's friends to Relli saying, "Hey, I think he wants you, Rocky wants you to perform at Akademiks." So Rocky was trying to get him to come. It was sort of a celebration of the ASAP crew. So Rocky, yes, he was urgently messaging him because they were late for this complex time. You're going to hear that from multiple witnesses. He was making them late for the show, so there were multiple messages from both 12E and Rocky. Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? However, you're going to learn that although Relli, because Rocky had reached out to Relli to make plans to meet at his hotel, and you're going to learn, however, that Relli said he was staying at the Lowe's Hotel, who was in fact staying at the Lowe's Hotel, lied to Rocky and said he was staying at the W Hotel. Why? Because he wanted Rocky to think he was staying at a nicer place, according to him, which is consistent with his pattern of showing off, phony, extravagant lifestyle. But also consistent with his pattern of lying. You'll see Relli committed perjury about that exact reason. And despite Rocky's best intentions, the evidence will show you that Relli was angry when he agreed to meet Rocky that day. And that anger came to a head when he encountered Rocky on the street, outside of a parking lot, on Argyle Avenue, leading to a brief altercation that took place on the street, which you saw a clip of, a very short clip of. You'll learn that Relli claims Rocky instigated, I mean Relli, by the way, is twice the size of him, but we'll get to that. Relli claims that Rocky instigated the altercation, but the evidence will show you it was Relli who was the one looking for a fight. And you'll hear about Relli's day in the hours before meeting Rocky. You'll hear what happened in that day, independent of Rocky in that day. You'll hear.
Whoa, my bad. I was listening to some other shit. Hold on. I ain't gonna lie. I'm over here. Yo, Grant, I ain't gonna lie. You funny as shit. Yo, hey, all y'all real quick. Yo, all gist of this ASAP Rocky shooting case. It appears that the defense is gonna say this is about money. This guy who was, Rocky's face looks so salty. This guy Relli is upset at Rocky because he didn't pay for this, or he didn't do this, or didn't follow through on this promise. And essentially, they probably had an altercation. And later on, when the police are involved, he's down to say that Rocky did some shit when the police said, oh, no, they believe a shot was fired. So he's just lying because he's salty at Rocky, right? Obviously, his situation or his, case, or the DA is going to say, no, Rocky, who thinks he has all this control and power over the ASAP mob, try to threaten and intimidate this guy. They got into a tussle. You get these other people, ASAP Ills and 12E, who got in between. But Rocky felt he got bitched. He pulled out a gun and, he tried to do harm to this other guy. And yes, I think what's going to be hard is that I think 12E and ASAP Ills are going to show up to defend Rocky, right? Like, why would you defend the broke guy? Like, no disrespect. Why would you defend the guy who got nothing to give you? So 2 of the eyewitnesses is expected to be rocking with Rocky, ASAP 12E and ASAP Ills. Relli clearly is going to be saying he shot me. The prosecutors are going to be like, well, okay, we have one witness. I think there's some girl she wasn't a direct eyewitness, but she saw people running. And then it's going to be all about these surveillance camera footages. So we'll see what happens, okay? All right. Let's keep this shit moving.